Yo, what's good? What's good? Please, anybody, if you can hear me, please hit the one. If anybody in here, please let me know if you can hear me. Sorry I'm late, but I am here. And I'm here, man. I came to talk a little bit of boxing, man. Came to talk some boxing. I hope I got a guest or two that's willing to show up on the panel today. And you already know what this is. This is the Jab Session, episode number 61. And again, I apologize for being late, but we got a lot of boxing to talk about tonight, this evening, whatever you want to call it. Instant weekend, man. I wish I would play some bets this weekend. I tell you that. Matter of fact, I need to find me a little app on my phone where I can place some online bets. You know what I mean? Because man, I would have hit big last night, man. Especially on two fights, on the Ottawa Lane and the Oscar Valdez fight. I would hit big on those fights. I know that for a fact. You know what I mean? But give me a minute. We're gonna get into it. Just, I want to, give a few people some time to come in if they're gonna slide in. You know what I mean? If not, I'm just gonna go ahead and proceed and just cook. You know what I'm talking about? But other than that, we just gonna talk about a little something. To get the show warmed up. And one thing I hate when they keep putting all these doggone cards on the same weekend, man. It's starting to get way too ridiculous. Like they need to really figure something out, man, because we can't watch all these fights at the same time, and then we got to spend all day Sunday rewatching another card or certain fights, and then it's just too difficult, because they already got each card got like six, 8 fights on the on each card, and then they show the undercard earlier instead of just running all that, on one weekend. They got top brand competing with each other, the zone. And with the zone not that bad because sometimes they show their fights in the daytime, so I don't really got a problem with that. You know what I mean? That's cool. But the nighttime, the ESPN, and the Showtime, or the Fox and the PBC, they get ridiculous because it's too much of an interference, man. Too much. Ain't nobody got time to be flipping back and forth on fights and shit like that because it's too hard to keep up with all that. But I don't know. I hope they figure out something though, because like I said, it's starting to get real aggravating. And it just fucks up the whole rhythm and flow of everything that's really going on. People can't make certain videos how they want to because they got to constantly dibble and dabble back and forth with the networks. You ain't got time. You understand what I'm saying? So all that little crap. But now we getting into it. We're gonna talk a little bit of boxing, man. And what fight I'm gonna start off with? Let's see here. Uh, I ain't see too many like I said, the undercard fights like that because I got set up too late. But what I am gonna start off with, I'm gonna start off with the Robert Easter Jr. fight and the Ryan Martin fight. I thought Robert Easter did pretty good in that fight. I think that in the inside when they was in the inside, I thought that Ryan Martin was getting the better, of the exchanges in the inside. He was having to win the inside. But as far as that, Robert Easter, he when he boxed on the outside and kept him mid range, he pretty much dominated the fight. And that's I mean pretty much it. Really wasn't too much nothing major going on into the fight. Similar. It was kind of like having similar, output. I say Robert Easter was a little bit more busier, and I think that Ryan Martin was a little bit too patient. When he would close the gap. You know what I mean? Just a little too patient and wait too long to work at times. And then also, what's good with Econo Loco? What's good with the family? Hey, so you want to hop on, or you just want to play in the chat for a minute? I mean, for the evening, how you want to do it? Let me see how I can put this shit in the chat. Let me see. Try something out. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, that's what's up. Man, my bad. Every time I start playing around with this doggone thing, I end up getting myself out of the live stream. Oh yeah, okay. But anyway, Robert Easter, man, and Ryan Martin. But like I said, the Ryan Martin, man, like he should have. He was doing his best work when he was standing inside, where the fire was at. He should have made Robert Easter uncomfortable the whole time. That's the pace he should have set and kept the whole fight. All that dipping in and out and all that. That's cool, but he wasn't gonna be able to outbox Robert Easter Jr. from the outside. Just bottom line. You know, Robert Easter, was just the better boxer. Period. But Ryan Martin, he didn't hold a bad count of himself though. He definitely, held a good count of himself. He just didn't do enough, in my opinion. Yeah, he whooped that boy ass blood. The boy ain't let his hands go. He was letting his hands go last night, but he just, like I said, he was being too nice, being too patient. And guys like Ryan Martin, I don't know what where they go from here. They just, you know, fill in guys, I guess. You know, but Robert Easter, I don't know what's next for him. Who he gonna fight? You know what I mean? I always wanted to see him and Maurice Hooker fight, but Maurice Hooker at welterweight now. So, but like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see what Robert Easter's gonna do at 140. I like him better at 140, to be honest with you. I think he's a better fighter. Uh, I don't. I still don't think he got no power on his punches like that. But and one thing I do want to see Robert Easter do, I want to see him tighten those hooks up a little bit better. Those slapping ass hooks like that shit ain't getting nobody up out of there. You know what I mean? And but as far as that's all I had on that fight. I had Robert Easter winning that fight. Pretty convincingly. You know what I mean? But what's next on the list? Yeah, he looked okay. He looked okay, blood. He looked okay. He definitely looked okay. But I sent you a link on your text if you want to use that link to hop on, bro. I had another partner of mine that supposed to be coming on, but he busy right now. Yeah, but if you want to come on, you more than welcome. I sent you the link. But what other fight I was talking about going to next? Oh, that's what I. Yeah, let me go ahead and just go ahead and line up the whole PBC card first before I start jumping around, being all over the goddamn place. But that now my fight, man, I don't know the Berchelt out of the Berchelt and Valdez and the Wallin in the Brazil fight, man. I don't know which one of them was the fight of the night. I think I'm gonna have to go with Oscar Valdez due to the whole. It had more significance behind to it. You know what I mean? It had more of a meaning to that bout. But let me get back to Otto Wallin and Dominic Brazile though. Boy, look at here. I had them pick Otto Wallin to win this fight last night, but I ain't think that he was gonna piece Dominic Brazile up like that there, man. I'm talking about he pieced him up from head to toe, from toe to head. I'm talking about anything he wanted to throw, he was just hitting Dominic Brazile with that. Anything he wanted to throw, he was catching Dominic Brazile with. And but the thing about Dominic Brazile though, man, that boy, he got the heart of a god, boy, of a hero. I'm telling you, man, because he you got to salute him because he ain't never come to lay down. Hey, what's good, famo? Shoot me a text message, man. I'll send you a link if you want to hop on, famous. But he got the heart of a hero, man. He got the heart of a hero. I'm talking about he kept coming forward all night long. I'm talking about my man was just catching him with all type of shit. All type of shit. And I thought if he could have stepped on the gas a little bit more, he would have he could have probably got Dominic Brazile up out of there, you know. He said I'll help Dominic Brazile train my bet. I hear you, famous. I hear you. I hear you, fam. Let me see. Here we go. Let me see. Why the shit ain't got down? Uh, I think this might be it. Try that one right there, famous. Try that one. Yeah. But like I said, Dominic was it. He tried, man. He looked so damn slow in there, man. You should have seen how slow he was looking in there, man. It was ridiculous. Dominic Brazile. I'm talking about you seeing that shit come from a mile away. And I mean, but the punch placement that Ottawa lean. No, I sent it to you in your text message, blood. Big rockhead ass nigga. You know why I sent that damn link to. God, check your text message, nigga. Look up under that couch. Nigga, where you behind that phone at. When you don't want to be bothered with nobody. You know that phone up under that couch, up under one of the pillows on that couch where you live at. Uh, but the punch placement, man, the punch placement that Otto Wallin was putting together, man, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Definitely was beautiful. Y'all let me know if y'all having trouble with the link, man. I have to try to send another link. Famous and blood. But yeah, it was definitely beautiful, man. But as far as Dominic Brazile, everybody keeps saying they want Dominic Brazile to retire. I beg to differ, man. I beg to differ, man. I'm gonna tell you why. Yeah, he ain't gonna beat none of the elite guys. But see me, I'm just an action junkie, man. All right, bro. I'm gonna send you a link. Hold on 1 second, man. Y'all give me a second. Let me try this shit. Let me try to send famous a link. No, that's the wrong one. Shit. Damn. Shit me, man. Fuck. Hold on, man. Let me try to figure this shit out, man. Hold up. Give me a sec. Y'all give me a second. Let me try to send this link shit out. Yo, yo, can anybody hear me? Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me in here, please, please, please. Oh, okay. Yeah, now, I sent it to you. Okay, here we go. I see somebody in here. Hold up. Yo, Unmute your mic, famous. Famous.
Yeah, it sound a little choppy. It sound like it's breaking up though. What's the word? I don't know if people can
Nah.
let me know.
Hey, I can hear you good. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear famous in the chat.
Oh yeah, I hear
Y'all
you
hear me?
good, bro. I hear you good now. What's the word,
Okay.
man? Salute to the chat.
Oh man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I'm glad to finally have, you know what I mean, my boy on the channel. Can't wait to get Blood Big Head Ass on the channel so I can hear him go ham. I can't wait to hear him get on here.
Blood is a funny
You know what I'm
nigga,
talking about? But yeah, welcome to the jab session, man. Welcome to the jab session, man. So what you think about last night's fight? You want to continue on where I was at, or you want to just start where you want to start at?
man.
The floor is yours, bro. I'm finna
Okay,
mute the mic.
okay. So yeah, so let's just continue where you was at. I did see that Otto Wallen and Dominic Brazile fight. I didn't see the Robert Easter fight. I saw the Berchelt versus Valdez. I actually just saw that before I even came on because I saw you was going live at 6:30. So I said, you know what? Let me just watch the fight before I can even elaborate on anything. So with that being said, man, last night was an action packed night full of boxing. I heard Robert Easter Jr. did very good last night, so I want to salute him on his win at 140. People saying he looking more comfortable. Um, was it a opponent where we could really gauge where he at 140? I'm not sure because I didn't see the fight, but I always take my hat off to all fighters who step in the ring. So that's the thing that I'm gonna do. So salute to Robert Easter Jr. Um, tables do turn because I remember a couple years ago, me and Trap, when we first, probably like one of the first people who was talking about Devin Haney or even promoting him because if you was there, you was there. If you wasn't, you wasn't. But Trap know what I'm talking about. So, um, Devin Haney called out Robert Easter Jr. years ago when he had the title, and if I remember, his words were something like Devin Haney's a kid or something like that to that extent. And now the tables have turned drastically. You know what I'm saying? The tables have turned drastically. Um, so once again, salute to Robert Easter Jr. I think Rasheed Warren won. I think the whole About Billions team won last night, if I'm not mistaken. So salute to everybody who stepped in that ring, and put them gloves on and boxed their ass off last night. But as far as the Dominic Brazile fight and Otto Wallen. I mean, I think Otto Wallen could have pressed the pace a little more. I'm not sure if he was tired, but I think he possibly could have got a TKO victory of Dominic Brazile just because Dominic Brazile footing wasn't there. His equilibrium may have been off, and it was times where you could just see them punches coming from a mile away. And I'm not sure if he was getting hurt by any of the punches, but once you that close with Dominic Brazile arms being so long, the only punch that he really had was the uppercut. So if he was to be able to stay out of the way of the uppercut, he could have threw, a flurry of combinations. And I possibly think he could have got Dominic Brazile out of there, but that wasn't the case. So, that was a good scrap. After that, what happened? I think I saw. Oh yeah, after that I was watching the Adrian Broner fight. So as I'm watching the Adrian Broner fight, I'm on my phone and I see Valdez got knocked out. And I'm like, I mean Valdez got knocked out. My fault, Berchelt got knocked out, and I'm like, oh man, I'm watching the wrong fucking fight. So I'm watching this Adrian Broner fight, man, and first round, the moment I started to see Santiago go in and start delivering these body shots to Adrian Broner, I said, "Oh, we got the same Adrian Broner that we saw a few years ago, a few months ago." So I wasn't too impressed with Adrian Broner. I know Blood put a video up today, and I was just trolling him, saying that Adrian Broner won first round KO, which is funny to me, but you gotta have some fun sometimes. But yeah, Broner last night, he just looked like he was just there to feel like he's back to his old self or whatever the case may be. I don't know, man. I just don't know. He don't pull that trigger enough. Um, Santiago definitely did win, whether it was by a round or two, but he definitely won. He had the more output. He was pressing the pace. Broner started to pick it up towards the later half of the fight, but other than that, he didn't really do anything significant. I know Broner. was trying to land that left hook to the body, and I actually made a keys to victory video for Adrian Broner like around 9 o'clock, and I dropped it. So if you didn't see that, go check that out on the channel. So I'm back to actually just making videos how I used to with the, breaking down fights and, matchup versus matchup, whether they there or not. And, pretty much I'm not sure how much I'm going to do the live streams because I'm kind of tired of talking about business and all that type of shit on, you know what I'm saying, with the boxing is so watered down. So, if they making boxing a fantasy world, I might as well go right along with it and just edit the videos and just, okay, if this fight happened, who you got or who you pick, just being different and taking my approach to another level. But Broner, he like Blood was saying, he ain't gonna beat nobody at 47. Maybe he should fight Danny Garcia next. I think that'll be a good win for Danny Garcia if they do go on there. When it comes to times like this, I'm pretty sure Danny Garcia and Adrian Broner has been brewing for a long time. So that fight is a fight that should have been made a couple years ago, but I think it's the perfect time now to make the fight. Danny Garcia versus Adrian Broner. Somebody said a little while ago that it's going to be a battle of the least punches ever thrown in boxing, which is hilarious. Yeah, all in all, salute to Adrian Broner. I take my hat off to him. Now, as far as Valdez and Berchelt, I just saw it recently. So my take on the fight was I'm surprised, and I'm not sure maybe if how Oscar Valdez is not injured. Because from round one, he was throwing bombs. Everything had bad intentions on it. Everything. And then the same way he started was the same way he finished. He came out crispy, good timing. He had Burchelt timing down from the first round. And that jab was very snappy. That left hook was very powerful. And that first round was the same exact way how he did the 10th round. But the way he knocked him out, he was basically setting that up all night. He had his timing down perfect, and that left hook was always there. And it's only but a matter of time until somebody keep landing flush on you, flush, 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 to the point where you ain't gonna be able to take them shots. And that's what happened last night. It was perfectly executed. Salute to Oscar Valdez. Salute to Berchelt, because that man was coming forward no matter what. He wanted to, he knew it was a championship fight, and he showed the heart of a champion. So I'm gonna pass the floor to Trap House or Blood, and salute to everybody in the chat. And that's my take on last night. And then, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, man. I watched the Showtime card too, man. It was a lot of.
Hold up. First of all, salute to my big bro, the one and only motherfucking boxer. The floor is yours. And Kurt Sugar, the link is in the chat if you want it. My man, I would love to hear what you got to say, Kurt. So the link is in the chat, Kurt. Feel more than likely, feel free to hit that link and come on, Kurt. Hello?
Oh, can I go now? Okay. Okay. I just didn't want you to cut me off again, man. You hear me? You hear me? You hear me? You hear me, this Trap House? Don't cut me off.
Ball head ass. Go on, dude.
All right. Now, I seen that Showtime fight last night, the Showtime card, and then I watched the Berchelt Valdez fight. I watched that today. I watched it twice, actually, man. That was a damn good fight, too. But starting off with the Showtime card, man, Robert Easter Jr., he looked good, man. I was more impressed with him. He's a bigger threat to 140 than Adrian Broner, who's not at 140. I think him and Adrian Broner, weren't they tight childhood friends, too, and all that? But anyway, man, he did his thing, man, against that guy that Josh Taylor destroyed. What's that boy name again? I can't even remember the boy name he fought last night. But
Ryan Martin.
Ryan, that's it, Martin. Martin got destroyed by Josh Taylor. But anyways, man, Robert Easter, I think he's an okay fighter, man. He might be able to pick up some kind of belt somewhere if those guys unify and then one of them move out of the division and the belts get distributed again. He might be able to pick up some kind of belt that way or a second tier, but I don't think that highly of him. Moving on to Dominic Brazile. listen, man, Dominic Brazile had a great career, okay? He was able to come in as a quarterback, all right, and pick up boxing late when he was playing college football or something like that. Okay, so he was able to do that. He was effective. He was able to get a TV contract. He fought Anthony Joshua. He fought Deontay Wilder. He fought Otto Wallin and lost last night. He's 35 years old now. I think that he needs to hang up the gloves because he just doesn't seem to have that explosiveness that he used to have. He was one of those type of fighters that when he got in trouble, that's when he was very dangerous. But now he just don't seem to pull those punches together right. He's throwing one punch at a time and things like that. He's very slow. You know, Wallin was able to get out of the way of those hooks. He could see them things coming a mile away. I think he should try to get into commentating or something like that. And people could pick on him all they want too. You know, they could make their jokes. I've made my jokes before, but who else around here, around this whole country, was able to do all what he was able to do? Okay, he made a name for himself in boxing. He's qualified to speak on it. Now, Adrian Broner has always been overrated, in my opinion. Back in the day when he was younger, back when we was making our videos on him, and back in 2012 and 2013 and all of that, he was in his early 20s back then. He was taking advantage of the rehydration system by fighting these smaller guys. He would overwhelm guys like DeMarco. I don't know if he won. I think that Ponce de Leon fight, man, I don't know, boy. I thought that from what I can remember, I remember thinking Ponce de Leon won that fight, but I haven't seen that fight in several years. All right. Then for a while, he became inactive. He got caught up in the celebrity lifestyle. He started doing stupid shit on social media. But you know what? He showed us that you could utilize the social media tool, and he was successful with that. He made a name for himself just based off of the shit that he was doing on social media. He was able to establish a following, and I think that he could go on to back to hip hop and back to entertainment, because that's where he's at. That's where he's going to get his money at. He's going to get his money through the entertainment part of it, because at this time, he's not even a welterweight. He's trying to squeeze down. I mean, he's not even a junior welterweight. He's trying to squeeze down in the super lightweight, okay, at 140. He's really belongs at 147, but at this time, he doesn't have the footwork that he used to have, which was never even that great anyways, right? He's throwing one punch at a time. You could hear him now without the COVID, with the COVID shit in place and without the crowd, you can now hear him throwing these shots. He's like, one shot at a time. Just listen to his voice. He should be saying, He should be throwing 3-4 punch combinations at a time. And he's not doing that. He's throwing one punch at a time. I believe that guy beat him. All right. I scored the fight. I scored the fight for that guy. It was a close fight because Adrian Broner did establish timing, and he was able to counter a few of that guy's punches. He's a pretty good counter puncher, but he's just not a top fighter anymore. And he's set himself up now to be destroyed by some top fighters. Someone like Regis Prograis or Josh Taylor would eat Adrian Broner alive, maybe even stop him. All right. As for the and I'm just gonna go real quick with this one, because I ran it down on my channel, but Berchelt versus Valdez was an excellent display of skills by Valdez, and Kurt, he could vouch for me on this. Valdez was dipping forward like Salvador Sanchez used to do. He was looking for the openings. They both utilized that high guard. Valdez was able to see everything coming his way. All right. Berchelt was just too slow for him. It was just like with Sanchez and Lopez. They're great fighters, or solid fighters that just can't beat another fighter sometimes. And that's the situation we have here. The skills that he have is just a bad matchup for Berchelt. Okay. He was able to counter this guy. He was able to lead with hooks, out jab him with a 5-inch, Berchelt had a 5-inch reach advantage, and he still got out jabbed by the smaller Valdez. And Valdez started to get successful leading off of hooks and things like that. And then he hit him with that uppercut. And Tim Bradley did call the uppercut after round 4. He kept saying, keep throwing that uppercut. That uppercut resulted, it was followed up by a combination, and eventually he floored him he floored Burchell in round 9. And then he was able to stop him in round 10. Great performance, great footwork too, pulling in and out of the pocket. going from the orthodox to southpaw. He floored him in the southpaw stance, and he kept switching it up. He was confusing the hell out of me because he kept going from southpaw to orthodox to southpaw. I was confused. Shit, I don't know how this guy was able to deal with that. I hope he shows these skills more often, and that's all I got to say.
All right, first of all, man, before I pass it to Kurt, it's an honor and pleasure to have you on my panel, man, on my show. And the floor is yours, my man.
Well, it's a pleasure being on your show, man. I like your channel, man, and it's a pleasure being on the panel with my brother Blood and the rest of the guys, man. We love boxing. I'm gonna talk about the Valdez and the Berchelt fight. Boxing is a science, and you have to give Eddie Reynoso a lot of credit because he studied Berchelt. Berchelt was knocked out early in his career by a left hook. This is why Valdez kept throwing left hook after left hook. And when he hit him with that first left hook high in the head, Berchelt never recovered. Sort of like Bradley versus Provetnikov. He was fighting on pure instinct. His legs weren't there; they were stiff. That's how I know you was hurt. And that first left hook when they hurt him, round after round, he was trying to get himself back in the fight. And he started getting more aggressive and more aggressive. And Valdez was patient. And he was able to land and hurt Berchelt and the coup de grace. Berchelt is the type of fighter that a boxer can beat. You can go throughout boxer history, and the scientific fighter will always win. See, the trick, and I picked Berchelt by knockout. I said on Blue Blood, my show, I said that Valdez will fight gallantly for the first 4 or 5 rounds, and then Berchelt will wear him down. But Valdez shocked me by fighting a disciplined fight. ESPN billed it as a warrior versus warrior, the Mexican versus Mexican thing. But Valdez fought scientifically, and that was the difference. His footwork, his jab was killing Berchelt. And that's what you do when you fight a slugger. Berchelt, kind of remind me of Rafael Bazooka Limon and Ruben Olivares. They throw wide, long punches, and a good boxer can counter that all night long, and that's what you saw. And Valdez, man, and Reynoso, they made a good team. They executed a plan. Reynoso came up with a plan, and Valdez followed it through, and you can see the results. Berchelt leaves his chin up in the air. He was going to lose to any boxer, Shakur or Valdez, like last night, or Colbert. That's just the science of boxing. Manuel Navarrete is another one. If he meets a boxer in that division, he will lose because he throw long, wide punches. There's been many sluggers that drops their defense, of boxing terminology, and boxing can be a science. That's why they call it the sweet science. So Valdez did everything right. Broner, real quick, I always thought Broner was garbage. Broner has no intangibles. He's a wasted talent. He's the quintessential fighter who was born with some talent, but the talent has to be nurtured and enhanced. You have to take care of what God gives you, a natural ability. He didn't do that. He wanted to be a battle rapper and hanging out in clubs and all kinds of stuff, man. So, and when you don't take care of your talents, this is what happens. You become lethargic, you underachieve. I thought Santiago won. I had a 115, 113 for Santiago. Robert Easter has a low boxing IQ. Ryan Martin has no dog in him whatsoever. You see his trainer yelling at him, and he fought with no renewed vigor, nothing, no commitment, nothing. He was just going through the motions. And Elvis Rodriguez, real quick on the undercard, he needs more work, So it was a good weekend of fights. Josh Kelly was way overrated. Certain fighters, when they get hit, they become discombobulated. They fall apart psychologically and mentally. And that was a Josh Kelly problem. if you hit him, you'll win. I mean, you see how he fell apart. So, I enjoyed the fights last weekend, man. That's what I have to say about it.
All right, man. I appreciate that from the great Kurt Sugar, man. So next we got intangible boxing news. Go ahead, my brother. Speak your piece, and welcome to the jab set.
Yeah, appreciate you for having me on. So, before I get into the two cards that I guess you're focusing on, Josh Kelly, of course, that fight was wonderful to watch. I'm glad he got knocked out because I picked Avanesian to win. I got it right. All the flaws that Josh Kelly's shown, as well as the fact that he has a very overrated and a very poor technical trainer in Adam Booth, just a strength and conditioning coach turned boxing trainer who has effectively ruined his tactics from the amateurs. He was a knockout waiting to happen, and that's effectively what occurred. Now, as far as the Broner-Santiago fight goes, the fight's on the undercard, Otto Wallin versus Dominic Brazile. I thought Wallin would get the late stoppage because I think he would win on accumulation. I don't necessarily think he'd drop him, but I think he'd probably just wear him down. He'd probably work his body quite a bit. He's going to box him from the outside. He's going to pick him off. He's going to select his shots properly. He's going to keep him turning and off balance, and he's going to outwork him. That's what happened, except he didn't stop him. He probably came close to because of the fact that he had that really busted up, I think it was his right eye. But Brazile hung in tough as usual. Brazile does bring in quite a bit of heart and energy into his fights, but he's always been very slow. He's always been very basic, lethargic, robotic, very slow, lumbering, plodding footwork. He has a pretty powerful right hand that you have to think about, but nothing really much else to the table. But he is tough. He made it the distance. Otto Wallin showed that he is probably a top 20 caliber heavyweight. Got good skills. European caliber, he's already proven. And, he's someone who I wouldn't be mad if he possibly got like a WBA regular title shot because he's around the standard of WBA regular champions you would expect as far as his ability goes. Ryan Martin versus Robert Easter. I thought Robert Easter performed fairly well. Ryan Martin is nothing special. The last I've seen of him, he got the brakes beaten off of him by Josh Taylor. But I guess he was trying to take the fight to him a little bit, but Easter was actually moving off of his jab pretty well. He was using his physical advantages and his length well. He was bending at the knees, keeping him at the end of his jab, working the body a little bit, and even on the inside, he was doing pretty well. So I think he's shown some decent strides since he's moved up to 140. I think he's gotten a little bit better. Is he a threat to the champions? No, but actually I think, he's not going to fight Broner, but him versus a Mario Barrios would be a pretty good fight, the regular champion at 140. That'd be a pretty good fight, where I think he'd be fairly competitive. And Barrios showed some weaknesses against Akhmedov. Now, they're not comparable styles, but Barrios is a bit flawed in his own right. I think that'd be a pretty good fight, a close fight. The main event, Broner versus Santiago. Broner looked nothing special. Now, I only caught the second half of the fight in full because I was busy watching the Valdez fight, but Broner versus Santiago was quite a underwhelming fight. Broner performed mediocre as usual. I don't expect him to make any type of impact at world level again. I expect him to just be a gatekeeper for upcoming fighters if he decides to continue as an active fighter in the division. I don't expect him to necessarily beat anybody in the top 10 at 140 pounds. And if he decides to continue to fight at 147, maybe he can beat guys around European level or British level like Josh Kelly or someone like that. Or maybe he can beat like a Sammy Vargas at 147 right now, fighters who fight around the States. But I don't see him really going much further than where he's at now. He's he's over the hill. He's never been that special. He was the four-weight world champion, should I say. Three-weight world champion when he was at his best. Is fairly accomplished, but never possessed the skills to be a top pound-for-pound fighter. Slow feet. Same flaws show up in every fight. He's not active enough, isn't good enough at leading, can't cut the ring off, slow feet. Same stuff, and no improvement showed in the Santiago fight. More so a decline, actually. As far as the Valdez versus Berchelt card goes, I saw the Elvis Rodriguez fight where he had a little bit of problems. The next fight was the Gabriel Flores versus Jason Velez fight. Now, Jason Velez is sort of like the Isaac Chilemba, who fights at 175, 168 pounds. He's like the Isaac Chilemba of the 130-pound weight division. He's going to make it pretty awkward. He's very durable, and Gabriel Flores put on a show. I thought he would go the distance because Flores isn't necessarily a super aggressive fighter. He does have power, and I've always known him to have power, but he's not typically super aggressive. He likes to box, he likes to stay cautious, and he fights relatively subdued. But in this fight, he was starting to stick his counters. He was getting hit a bit, but he started to stick his counters, and that left hook counter that he took him out with was beautiful. This is a great win on his resume. Jason Velez is obviously very durable, and even in the Oscar Valdez fight, I actually had him up against Valdez before the stoppage. Which brings us to our next fight, Oscar Valdez versus Miguel Berchelt. Interesting fight, which I favored Berchelt to win beforehand. I said that Valdez had a puncher's chance, and he proved to have more of a puncher's chance. Defensively, he showed much more than he's shown in his previous fights. He's shown good head movement to defend from hooks. Now, he had problems defending against Berchelt's jab, and oftentimes he had problems punching on the move, which he's not typically accustomed to doing. He has to set his feet to get his hooks off. But the key thing that he was doing to defend against Berchelt, when Berchelt would close down the pocket and take advantage of Valdez's not particularly quick feet, was his clinch game. That wore down Berchelt on top of Berchelt being hurt. Because when Berchelt would try to rush in with hooks, he would meet Valdez in the clinch, and he would constantly have to force himself out. He would constantly find himself having to break clinches and having to wrestle with him. And being a guy who was hurt, Valdez could lean on him, get his energy back, and he picked up that second wind, which allowed him to land beautiful straight counters and jabs. The jab was operating very nicely to the body and the head. His movement looked wonderful, and on the front foot, he showed what he typically shows on the front foot. He showed a mean streak. He showed a beautiful left hook counter. Tactically, he looked much better than he has in his previous fights. Tremendous performance by him, and I'd probably put him as my number one 130-pounder, just based on the fact that he beat the number one guy. Very simple.
Well said, man. I pretty much agree with everything you said on that one. As far as Gabriel Flores, he made it seem like that he was playing with his food a lot, in the fight. But, I didn't like how he continued to get hit with right hands, keep the left hand low. But I got a two-part question for everybody on the panel. I don't really care what particular order, just whoever goes first, or if y'all want me to pick whatever. But I got a question for y'all. I want to know, who do y'all want to see Otto Wallin in the next, and with next, and do y'all think he belongs, in there with the discussion with these guys now? Do you think he in title contention, range yet? And also, what about Dominic Brazile versus Stavern? Would y'all mind seeing that? I know y'all say y'all want to see Dominic Brazile retire, but what about a Stavern versus Brazile fight, just for fun, just for shits and giggles? Anybody take the floor?
Well, hopefully, I pray to every god that if that fight, I pray to on any religion that if that fight were to occur, the loser retires, which I assume would be Stavern. Who would I like to see Otto Wallin in with next? Interesting one. Possibly the Helenius versus Kaunaki winner. Since he's already made his he's had his little fight on a PBC card recently, I think it would make quite a bit of sense for him to fight the winner in that fight. I'd favor him to beat both. I think his work rate would be a bit too much for Helenius, who is very powerful, does have a lot of power in that right hand especially. In both hands, actually. Has a pretty powerful jab, has a decent left hook, but very slow on his feet. Not the best punch resistance, poor stamina, very lumbering, not the most crafty, very basic fighter. And Kaunaki, poor defense, decent combination puncher and hand speed, decent power and body work, but once again, just has too slow feet, doesn't have the best stamina, isn't the best from the outside, and Wallin is going to have the size advantage. I'd favor him to beat both, but I think both fights would make sense, as whoever he beats in that fight, he would become the WBA gold champion, I believe it is, and he would then, as a result, become the #1 contender to Anthony Joshua's title. So I think that fight would probably make the most sense. Not necessarily entirely sure who he's going to take on next. I really don't know. I think he's a promotional. I don't think he's necessarily tied to anyone promotionally or as far as network goes, but I think this fight solidified him as a legitimate contender. The Fury fight was no fluke, as I expected. He beat Brazile easily. And, yeah, I think that'd probably make the most sense.
All right. Next person, go ahead and take the floor.
Well, I could talk about it. First of all, Otto Wallin and Dominic Brazile. I'm going to tell you guys that Dominic Brazile is not rated, not even in the top 15 in none of the sanctioning bodies. I'm looking at it right now. Otto Wallin, he's rated in the WBA at number 15, and then he's rated at 14 in the IBF. Now, I know he had a fight with Dominic Brazile last night, and I don't know how that's going to affect the ratings, but what we saw last night were two guys who are not even rated in the top 10, all right? So we really don't know. There's a lot of fighters out there. You got Hergovich out there. You got Michael Hunter. You got Charles Martin. You got Andy Ruiz Jr. in the rankings. You got Luis Ortiz, Deontay Wilder, Joe Joyce, Joseph Parker. There's a lot of fights out for him right now. So right now, he just needs to fight somebody in the top 10, anyone else that's in the top 10, so we can see some valid rankings for a change. The only places they have him ranked are in the WBA and the IBF. So he just needs to keep moving towards some kind of a title fight, like like you said, Robert Helenius, Intangible mentioned it. That would probably be a good fight for him. But is he due for a fight against the gold champion when he's not even rated in the top 10 as of right now? You know, these rankings, they're very hard to. It's hard to see what's going on because some of these guys that are ranked ahead of them, ahead of Wallin, they're so inactive. You got guys like Gabriel out there, Kawanaki. Any of those fights would be good for him. I know he already had the fight with Tyson Fury, but that's not enough because the rankings, they're not displaying him as a top 10 fighter. As for your other question, it was what was your other question again? I forgot.
It was Stavern versus Brazile.
Oh, that's right.
But
right.
let me ask you this though, Blood. You would you anybody on the panel too? Would y'all mind seeing Otto Wallin versus the winner of Povetkin versus Dillian White?
That would be a good fight if they're willing to fight.
I don't have a problem with that. I want to see him fight somebody like even a Luis Ortiz, or give him one last, hurrah, see can he make anything happen, or the winner of Helenius Kanaki if they fight, or the winner of Povetkin and Dillian White. I think that's a good test for Wallin.
No doubt. Famous, what you got, man? You been quiet over there, man. Come out of that closet over there.
Yeah, that's that. I mean,
baby.
I'm gonna have to agree with Kurt on that one as far as Otto Wallin. Luis Ortiz is known for these guys, like these kind of guys trying to come up and trying to see if they can make a name. And Luis Ortiz is known for sparking these kind of guys. So Luis Ortiz is a good measuring stick. Also, Charles Martin is a good measuring stick, although he's not extremely active, but that's the criteria that I could put him in. Although I'm not biased towards any fighters or like, oh, he shouldn't face this guy. I was gonna say Andy Ruiz Jr., but I don't think he deserves that fight, even though he's a heavyweight. Pardon me. And if you heavyweight, you should fight. But those two guys, I truly believe, like Luis Ortiz or Charles Martin, can fit him at this moment. And also, as far as Dominic Brazile, you were saying Dominic Brazile and Stavern. I mean, if you want to see it, I don't really care to see that. But if it happens, it happens. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Yeah, as far as like Ruiz, I mean, let me ask you, like, why Ruiz is exempt from the list? I mean, he just lost, really though.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's not really exempt. I'm just saying that his name is more in like if you want to say top five or just the top names. You know what I'm saying? His name is more in the top names. Wallin is still on the come up. I'm not saying that nobody can't get the smoke. Because if you a heavyweight, I don't care where you rank. I believe everybody should fight everybody. That's just me personally. But I was gonna say Andy Ruiz Jr., but I think Ruiz will probably take it to him and stop his shine. So I didn't want to see that. But Charles Martin or Luis Ortiz possibly. That's why I say that.
All right, so check this out. So what? I'm gonna ask everybody this question. This is for everybody. Which I know y'all heard Adrian Broner last night on the interview last night talking about Steve Farhood. He had him losing and all this other stuff, and also, man, look. Let me say this before y'all answer this. Adrian Broner, man, you out of line, man. I know why you ain't had no haircut. See, Adrian Broner got that preacher's neck back there. See, he got that razor bump shit back there. Y'all, I know y'all seen that shit on the back of his goddamn head last night. The razor bumps with them packs of got on the back of his goddamn neck. He was dead ass wrong. Hey, you a millionaire with your shit bumped up with that Corona clippers you've been put on the back of your damn head. You out of line for that shit. Well, go ahead, everybody, take the floor.
He get his hair cut too much, man. You know what I'm saying? He gets his hair cut a little too much, so that was probably fucking with him. But on the what was the question again? Oh, as far as Adrian Broner,
with the Farhood thing and all
with
that.
the comments. Adrian Broner be living in his own world, in his own head, and I just think he got too many different personalities at times. One minute he turns to this person, next minute he turns to that person. So if it's not a fair opinion, according to him, it's F you, or you ain't this, you ain't that. But at the end of the day, bro, we was looking at the fight outside the ring. And inside the ring, or even inside the corner, when your coach, you asking your coach, did I win that round? Did I win that round? That don't mean you wasn't. That means you wasn't sure you was winning some of those rounds. And the rounds that he was asking, was he winning? He was losing. So Steve Farhood saw what we saw. I think they did kind of, for being professional, I think they did kind of slander his name in a sense where all they kept talking about was what he's not doing as opposed to what he does do. I think that's more of a YouTuber thing where people do that. But if you're professional, I don't think you should be up there slandering Broner's name. But overall, his comments was crazy, and he did lose. So Steve Farhood wasn't wrong, and I like Steve Farhood, man. To me, he's a honest guy. I haven't seen any bias of him. I haven't been watching boxing for that long. Not as long as probably Kurt or Blood or U-Trap, but to me, he's pretty solid. To me, when he calls stuff, he's not. Oh, I'm rooting for this fighter. He calls what he sees. So that's my take.
Steve Farhood has been involved in the sport 40 years. Okay, he was the editor-in-chief over at KO Magazine and Ren Magazine. We're used to him. We've heard him over the years. We've seen his articles and things like that. So he's been involved in the sport for a long time. And what Adrian Broner has to understand, he's entitled to his opinion. He's been involved in the sport before Adrian Broner was born. He has an opinion. These fighters, they have a small window, okay? A small window. And what's going to happen is Steve Farhood is going to continue to talk boxing and continue to write about and cover boxing, just like we are. All right. So that's just another opinion. Don't take it so personal because Steve Farhood has his opinion. So I thought that he showed low class. That was low class for him to go there. Like I've said, I don't really like disrespecting people who are like decades older than me either. I don't know what people's problem, what this new generation's problem with that is. You get on here and you start disrespecting people who are 20 and 30 years older than you, who've been on the planet 3 or 4 decades longer than you. You want to sit up here and tell them fuck you and call them bitch and all kind of stuff. I'm not with that. I think that that's low class for anybody to do, right? And then Adrian Broner, he went on this big old thing before the fight. They did a little pre-documentary thing on how he's stopped drinking and all of this. Then after the fight, he showed his true colors, all right, when he went to talking about he's going to be hitting off models and popping bottles. And, here's some little thing that he said, which is what he's all about. I don't really find this guy, I don't take him serious, man. I don't take nothing this guy says. He's a fucking clown. As far as I'm concerned, he's a clown, man. That's how I see him. Like I said, I think that he could be paid. There's a lot of money for him in the entertainment industry. All right. He's got a large following. I think he needs to just stay healthy for his large following and do some entertainment type stuff. There's stuff out here for him to do. He's never going to be Floyd Mayweather, right? So he needs to find what's the next best thing. Go back to your rap career. I'm spicing that up a little bit, get a little bit better on the lyrics, come with an internet show, an interview. Can you imagine Adrian Broner? He could go talk to anybody. Open you up a YouTube page, have a take advantage of your platform. You got a big world out there. I don't think he's a top fighter, and he's a clown for what he said about Steve Farhood, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I look at Adrian Broner as a Amos and Andy side show. He's a clown. I have no respect for Adrian Broner, man. I don't know what I might do if I see him. I just don't like Adrian Broner, man. I hate to see a fighter who has some skills instead of building on it. You know, he disrespects the sport of boxing. Talk about, you know, I took his girl, Paula Malignaggi, and I'm just sick of it, man. He's an embarrassment to the sport, man. And you know, I was rooting for Santiago, man, because I want to see the Broner train derail once and for all. If he gets in the ring with Progress or anybody of note, he's going to get the brakes and rotors beat off him, man. And at one time, people thought, you know, he was on even kill with Floyd Mayweather, which is a joke. I never thought that. It's hard to believe he's a 4-time world champion, man. But every time he steps up in competition, you know, he always loses. Like I said, AB stands for always a bridesmaid, you know, never a bride. And that's just how I feel about him, man. You know, he's not funny. He has no respect, like Blood said, for his elders. Steve Farhood is a credible writer. He was editor, like I said, KO Magazine. I've been following Steve Farhood for forever, you know, and he's one of those old historians who I looked up to, like Bert Sugar, who I was named after, and Hank Kaplan and Art Rush Jr. He's from that ilk, Al Bernstein. But you know, I just wish this guy would just go away, man. Seriously, man, get out. He gets on my nerves.
Well, I mean, Tansy, we got anything on that? If not, I got a couple more questions.
Very briefly, yeah, Broner's. As far as what he said about Steve Farhood, he's always done this type of stuff. I believe he's gone after he and Al Bernstein before. It's, you know, not out of the norm. It's not out of the realms of reality for him. I don't really think Showtime is going to pay much mind to it because he's talked about Leonard Ellerby and Al Bernstein being against him. That's what he does. That's his character. That's his shtick. They're going to allow for it to continue, and they're just going to be like, well, this is his shtick. This is how we can market him. He behaves like a clown. He gets into trouble a lot of the times. He has all these issues on the internet. You know, he's hitting on 16-year-old internet personalities online. I mean, I'm actually kind of speechless. I really don't have much to say about it.
Okay, well, and this is a two questions for everybody too. Do y'all think that it'd just be wise at this point for AB just to stick around at 147 and get like a Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman fight, because he ain't gonna beat none of them guys at 140, and plus it ain't no money out there for him, and he already said he ain't gonna fight Regis Prograis. So I mean, at this point, I mean, you think PBC is pawning him off to a Danny Garcia and a Keith Thurman just to get rid of his ass? You know what I mean? And we just gonna leave it at that question right now, and I'll ask everybody the second question after.
Anybody want to take it? I'll take it. Oh, Blood, go ahead, Blood.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that those would be good fights for him. Keith Thurman, maybe they're setting him up for a Keith Thurman comeback fight. That would be an intriguing fight. But I do believe that if Keith Thurman comes back to even 90% of what he was, he could stop Adrian Broner. As for Danny Garcia, I think Danny Garcia could beat him too. Danny Garcia, I've never been really that high on Danny Garcia. And personally, I think that guy, Mean Machine or whatever his name is would beat Danny Garcia, in my opinion. That's just my. If I had to put money on it, I would put my money on that guy that fought Terrence Crawford. So that would be a good fight for Adrian Broner. But Adrian Broner is insignificant at 140. He's insignificant at 147. He's throwing one shot at a time. Like Intangible said, his feet are slow. He had better footwork back when he was younger. I mean, it was like he was never nothing explosive, but he did have better feet when he was in his early 20s. He doesn't even have none of that anymore. He can't cut the ring off. It's just nothing. You don't have nothing there. You don't have nothing. He's there to be a punching bag for somebody. And, he just needs to get out the sport, like Kurt said. He's a joke. He's a disgrace to the sport, in my opinion. But right now, hey, that's just my opinion as a boxing fan. He still did his thing. He got in the ring. I respect his opinion. If he's being honest, I respect his opinion on the sport. He's been pretty outspoken at times, so he could contribute in another way. But as far as fighting, I don't take him seriously. He's a clown.
Based on what I saw in his performance against Santiago, who I wouldn't even label as necessarily any type of serious contender. I'd label him more as a fringe level fighter. I don't know if he gets past David Avanesian. I think he'd beat a Josh Kelly or someone like that, but I don't even know if he'd get past a David Avanesian or a Kerman Lejaraga. I don't think he'd get past the average European level fighter, to be honest, at this point. He's not the same guy. I mean, he's always had slow plodding footwork, but now it's just gone. He can't even get in and out. He can't get off his looping shots the way he used to because he doesn't have nearly the explosiveness. So he can get past the guys like maybe Josh Kelly and Sammy Vargas and maybe Brad Solomon or someone like that. Maybe the guy that Ennis fought, it was Abreu. Yeah, he could get past him, but otherwise I think he's just going to be a stepping stone gatekeeper level fighter.
But in terms, you got to understand what's going on here. He ain't gonna fight those guys you talking about who he maybe can get past. He gonna fight the money grab. That's just it.
Yeah, he's gonna fight Keith and Danny. Both guys beat him. Keith Thurman, I don't care if Keith Thurman's washed up. Broner probably is right now. Danny would beat him. That fight would be horrible because neither guy would want to throw punches or lead exchanges. The fight would come down to about 3 punches. It'd be a 3-punch differential per round. Danny outlanding him every round about 4 punches to 1. I don't know.
I don't know. You giving Danny a lot of credit, man. I don't know. I don't believe in Danny that much. I mean, not no more, man. Danny too patient. He'll sit there and stare in the window all day and window shop if you let him without throwing a punch. So I don't know if I would agree with you on that one. Kurt, go ahead. I know you finna go ahead and elaborate, Kurt.
Yeah.
Go ahead, and I'm gonna let my man Holler Park go after that.
Yeah, I could see him fighting Danny Garcia because it makes a lot of sense on the business side. Can you imagine Adrian Broner and Angel Garcia at the press conference? Just imagine that. There'll be curse words, and that's what PBC will want. Anything to drum up business. Remember, boxing is a business. The other guys, he would never fight them. He will fight somebody like a Keith Thurman or Danny Garcia because they have a name they establish, and that's what he wants, especially at this time in his career. How many losses Broner got? 4?
4, yes.
Yeah, oh boy, I mean, he has a loyal fan base because I was arguing this week. They was like, he's going to get it right. He's back. Broner's back. I said, he ain't back. He would never be back. He was never gone. So I'm like, I just don't look at Broner as an elite fighter, man. I'm sorry, man. I don't have nothing good or nice to say about Adrian Broner at all.
Man, Kurt, man, I ain't gonna lie, man. You've been having me rolling the whole time. Every time you've been talking.
These fighters disgust me because I'm spoiled, man. I mean, I done seen the best fighters in Blood and yourself and other people too, and then Adrian Broner comes along, man. These guys are beta males. They're not alpha males, man. I was watching real quick. I was watching the press conference of Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns, man. They was on CBS, and Marvin Hagler, this was the build-up to the Hearns fight. He said, they call you the hitman. Well, when I get finished with you, they're going to be calling you the Hurt Man because I'm going to break every bone in your body. I loved it. I loved it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. These guys here, man, they act like some weenies, man. Like they don't promote that good, you know. And then when they do promote, most of the time they don't even put on like how they promote. So it's like, I don't know, you know. But anybody want to answer that question before
Yeah,
I get
let me jump in on that question real quick. So, I mean, like I said, man, I think the most notable guy is probably gonna be a Danny Garcia fight. But just to throw something out there, I know somebody who will give him living hell, and that will be Sergey Lipinets. You know, somebody his size, his height. You know, that's a come forward fighter that possibly can do what Madonna did to him right now. You know, with the pressure that he applies, and not saying he fight like him, but you know, you're gonna have to kill Sergey Lipinets in there or David Avanesyan, because you know those two guys right there is probably his best options to see if he where he really at before he face somebody like that. But at this point, like you said, he ain't gonna face any of them. He gonna face where the money is, and Adrian Broner does not throw enough punches. He does not even have the power to keep any of those guys off him. So either way, but one thing about Adrian Broner, it's going to take a lot to stop him. So if you could stop Adrian Broner, that'll be, you know, that'll be a mark. But other than that, that's pretty much it.
and let me say something real quick, man. Look, that's not out the realm of possibility because he probably think he can. That'll be like another step up fight for him. Now he probably would take that fight, but
Who
that
you
fight
talking about?
AB.
Well, no, which
Sergey
one? Which one you talking about?
Sergey
Yeah,
Lipinets.
that's exactly.
And I'm gonna tell you something. And if he take that fight, Sergey Lipinets would give him fits. Would give him fits. That I like that fight, but
Lipinets beats him.
probably would. He probably would. But
Ain't
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Ain't Lipinets fighting Ennis in April?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
You're right.
Beat the shit out of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ennis, I think, beats him.
I'd like to see AB fight Ennis next. That's who I'd like to see him fight.
Man, that was the joke of the night, man. Get out of here.
That is a joke.
Yeah. He essentially says he wants to see a public execution.
Hey, but real quick, let my man Charlotte Brother Mark cook real quick. Hey, go ahead and talk about what you're gonna talk about, my man, because you came late. So go ahead and talk about last night real quick. Say what you gonna
Hey,
say.
what's going on, Sam? I think they already set it up where Danny Garcia and Broner is next because they went and got a Puerto Rican, you know, that can cause a controversy because AB is always about the controversy. PBC is about the show. You know, they're always talking about the entertainment. So the next thing best for Adrian Broner, probably financially for them, is Danny Garcia. Because they could put that on a pay-per-view undercard and make it real big. But definitely they wanted to get under the Puerto Rican fan base skin a little bit. You know what I mean? They wasn't trying to go after the Mexicans. They wasn't trying to go after no Lipinets or anything like that. They were trying to set up a, you know how they like that kind of fight, the Black and Latino fighters. So it's going to be probably Danny versus Broner next. If Broner is going to fight again. He may not fight again.
What make you say that?
Broner's not serious in the game, bro. You know, he's in and out of boxing. He's not, he's the...
Hey, that was music.
He's like the showcase for PBC. He's the publicity stuntman. You know, if they don't have nothing going on, they can always rely on Adrian Broner to stir up something. So he may not come back, you know, because he didn't make that much money yesterday either. What was the purses yesterday?
I don't
Anybody know?
No, I don't even. Nah, I really don't pay attention.
Probably nothing much, but let's be honest. This wasn't any type of. This wasn't any fight that was used to garner numbers. This was a fight to get Broner back in the swing of things, so it can be used for another payday. This fight was nothing to market. There was really no promotion for this fight in the first place. So, yeah.
Yes, it's more like a publicity stunt. Because no matter what, Adrian Broner was going to win that fight. As y'all know, the first round, he didn't throw no punches. But he won that first round, according to all the judges.
And now that you said that he was going to win that fight no matter what, now what the hell do y'all think about them crazy ass scorecards? What the fuck was that?
Circus act. That's all it was.
118 to 111 and all that. I was like, what the fuck was that?
Because it's a lot of weird. They understand it's a lot of trolls that watch boxing, so they're gonna believe everything that they hear, and they know AB still. You don't think the people at Showtime have people looking at social media saying, "Oh, Adrian Broner's back," and they got people micromanaging that type of stuff, so they're gonna put a wide scorecard so people could be like, "Nah, he back," and they could argue, and this could be another argument, like, "Oh yeah, he ready for Danny Garcia." So that's what it is, just circus. That's all.
Yes, not only that, they wanted to assure that Showtime and the PBC keep Adrian Broner as the winner because he's the one with the following. He's the one that's going to be able to generate the money. So what they really did, I'm going to tell you guys what they really did. They really made sure that they secured his victory, okay? Because this guy here, he's not going to sell. This is during the time of the pandemic and all of that, okay? They need as much dollars generated into the sport as possible. So they're not going to take a chance because those judges were told beforehand to lean towards Adrian Broner on the rounds that are close, okay? Because Adrian Broner will bring a bigger fight to Showtime and the PBC. The PBC are having some problems right now. They just lost some kind of a big contract. So at this time, they can't afford to lose another guy who potentially has an internet following, okay? So they're not going to take a chance. So they made sure that he won the fight.
I totally agree with Blood.
They gain absolutely zero by Giovanni Santiago winning. I mean, literally nothing. They get negative points off of that. So he could knock down Broner 5 times every single round. They would have still given the decision to Broner. There's just what's the use for Santiago for them at least?
Okay, yeah. So, okay, we're gonna wrap Broner up. We're gonna wrap Broner and get his bump neck, razor head ass up out of here. So let's talk about Oscar Valdez real quick, man. What y'all think? Do you let's go ahead and talk about this. Do y'all think Oscar Valdez is gonna take that Shakur Stevens fight, or what route do y'all think Oscar Valdez is gonna take? I mean, is him and Gabriel Flores? What's lined up for him as far as what anybody else can see on this panel?
I don't know if this. You go ahead and speak.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, as far as Shakur Stevenson goes with he and Oscar Valdez, I don't know if that fight is coming next, honestly. I really don't know what route he's going to take. Maybe it is, but as far as that fight goes, I feel like some people would be overlooking Oscar Valdez in that fight because Shakur Stevenson is still unproven. His best opponents thus far in his career have been Christopher Diaz. He fought Alberto Guevara, who is a much lower weight, a natural bantamweight. He's also defeated Joet Gonzalez. He had that win against Toka Khan Clary, who's a fringe contender level fighter, but nobody that's even remotely on the caliber of Oscar Valdez who has put up any type of performance that resembles what Oscar Valdez did to Miguel Berchelt. Does Shakur have the power to keep him off? And does Shakur's inside fighting from the levels of fighting like a Toka Khan Clary, can that carry up to the A class, which Oscar Valdez is a part of? That's still to be proven.
Remember, Oscar Valdez left 126 when he was the mandatory with Shakur. Shakur was his mandatory. He dropped his belt to move up to 130. He don't want no parts of no Shakur. That man don't got the skills.
I want to say this. I've been watching Shakur at Elite Boxing Gym in North Newark ever since he was 10 years old. Matter of fact, we had like 5 Shakors, but they
Yes.
decided to go the street life. But I know his grandfather, Wally Moses, Newark, where I'm from, is a very hardcore boxing town. We got great gyms. But anyway, so Shakur has what you call natural ability. And what people fail to realize in boxing, the fans, is that Valdez fought a great fight against Berchelt because Berchelt made it easy for Valdez to look like that because of his style, long, wide
Yes.
punches. Against Shakur, the fight is going to be completely different because Shakur has a built-in radar on defense. That's something that you can't teach. If I was people in the division, I would get Shakur right now because once he becomes experienced and polished, he's not. He might. He's a top pound for pound fighter. He
Yes.
doesn't have to have a lot of power. Willie Pep didn't have a lot of power. Pernell Whitaker didn't have a lot of power. Miguel Canto didn't have a lot of power. But when you have scientific boxing ability, footwork, or you could slide and get out the way of punches like Shakur, he just has this radar and he can get out the way of punches. Valdez Saturday night was the guy with the rhythmic and perpetual motion, but against Shakur, it's going to be flipped. It's going to be Shakur with the rhythmic and perpetual motion. He throws his hook a little
Yes.
bit too wide, but he
Yes.
can get away with that against Berchelt because Berchelt, to him, defense was always illegal. His offense was his defense. But when you start to fight the Colberts and the Shakors, people like that, I'm just naming people off the top of my head, and the Devin Haney's, they're gonna make you think. You just can't fight those guys like Valdez can fight Berchelt because Berchelt,
Yes.
before the knockout, he was wide open. He looked like Frankenstein. His chin was up in the air. He threw
Mm-hmm.
this off balance punch and boom. You know, it looked like Paul Williams and Sergio Martinez. It looked just like that. I told Stormy B Man, I said that was Paul Williams and Sergio Martinez all over again when Paul Williams fell. He fell just like Paul Williams on Burchell.
Yes.
But uh Shakur is dangerous because he has natural born ability. I will get Shakur right now, but fighters today, they don't fight 2 tough fights in a row. So Valdez probably take a voluntary defense, and he's going to fight again. I mean, fights a top-notch fighter again. But if I was him, I'd be begging for that Shakur fight because you can't let Shakur get experience, man. Plus, he has a top-notch pedigree, Terrence Crawford and them guys, man. That helps a fighter a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, real quick, Charlotte versus Mark, you and Kurt got similar interests going on. Y'all go ahead and converse real quick. Explain to him with your relationship with to Shakur and all that is, and just go ahead and explain that to him so y'all can converse on that.
Now, I have a cousin that was a trainer, and before he got sick, he used to be friends with Wally. You know, his grandfather when Shakur used to be down in New Jersey, and then when the other kid got killed, that's when Shakur's mom and them wanted to have him move to Maryland or something like that.
What is your cousin name? You don't mind me asking.
Greg Cobbs.
Greg Cobbs. I don't think
He coming from out of Long Island though.
Oh, okay, Greg. Because I'm like real familiar with the Newark boxing scene. I used to go to all the gym, Dukas and 8th Street Gym and Miss Kelly's gym. Pinkland Tom used to go there. But Wally is well known. Yaya's son was John Apollo Kid Thompson, who got knocked up by Liam Smith, and Charlie Young. We call him Dewdrop. You know, Newark is I don't know if you ever been to Newark, but Newark, man, I wish all you guys could come to Newark. It's a hardcore boxing town.
Yeah, that's what my cousin says too.
And he's right.
Because he lives out that way now.
Oh, he do, Greg Cobbs.
Yeah, he lives out there now.
Okay. And Harvey Dobbs from Newark.
He doesn't train anymore or anything like that.
Oh, okay. And you know Harvey Doc, who I'm good friends with, he did the fight yesterday on Showtime. He's from Newark. James Bashir Ali, he's from Newark. And you know, you had a lot of fighters that's from Newark, man, going back to the '60s, man. So yeah, Newark, New Jersey, stand up.
He was out there with the PBC in Long Island, Westbury, Long Island.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, with Snoop. Let me think of his. What do they call his regular name, man? You know how you know cats street names, but you forget their regular names.
Right. Right.
He fought Sugar Shane Mosley and got knocked out. His son had needed a surgery or something like that.
Snoop.
Then that's the reason why he took the fight with Sugar Shane Mosley, but he wasn't ready for Sugar Shane like that.
I'm trying to think of his name,
Trying
man.
to think of
This is
his
a very
name,
interesting
man.
story.
His regular name. Mosley versus. Oh man, I cannot remember his regular name. We call him Snoop.
Where'd you say
though.
the guy was from? Where'd you say he was from? Sugar Shane Mosley's. When did he fight Sugar Shane? When he was a lightweight?
He fought Sugar Shane Mosley. I think when he was a welterweight.
Oh,
When he was close to a welterweight, I think it was at 146, something like that. He defeated Chavez before he fought Sugar Shane Mosley.
Willie Wise?
Willie Wise, yes.
Willie Wise. Willie Wise.
Oh.
I thought Willie Wise too. I was thinking Willie Wise. Yep.
Yes. Willie Wise. That's his regular name. We call him Snoop.
Shane just destroyed Willie Wise, man. He did. He put a beating on Wise. But Wise was a good fighter, though. He was a TV fighter.
Yes, he was right. Real fast.
Yeah,
Very
he was
fast.
a good fighter, Willie Wise. He was a good fighter. It's just that he was outmatched when he fought Shane. He didn't have the power for Shane.
Yes.
I remember he hit Shane and Shane just smiled at him. Like he smiled at Willie Wise and just put the heat on.
Hey, Blood, just to let you know, my man ain't no jitterbug on the panel, man. He an OG, just to let you know that.
Oh,
Yeah, I can tell. Mark, where you from?
From Westbury, Long Island.
I used to be in Freeport and Roosevelt.
All right. Yeah,
Oh,
right
yeah,
around the
yeah,
corner
yeah.
from us.
You chase the girls out there. But anyway, Roosevelt, that was all the well-to-do. When you ain't want no hood chick in Brooklyn and Queens, you went to Long Island because they was well-to-do, out there. And they have a Greek Fest after party in Long Island, and we used to go out there, me and my friends. But anyway, after Jones Beach. But anyway, back to boxing. Go ahead, Blood.
Yeah, those were the good old days, man. You know what? Let me just add some more to Shakur Stevenson.
That's what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, go ahead. A
different fight for Valdez because Shakur Stevenson. Now we're talking a southpaw. Okay, different dimensions, taller, faster. He's gonna have the footwork to match Valdez. When Valdez starts doing all them little tricks, switching up to southpaw and all, he's not going to be able to do all of that stuff against Shakur Stevenson because while he's trying to execute those different maneuvers, Shakur Stevenson is lightning fast too. Not only does he have great footwork, great timing, great defense, great counterpunching abilities, he's lightning fast. He just his reflexes, man. When I was seeing him fight, I was like, man, can nobody touch this guy? This guy's amazing, man. He's like one of those fighters that brings you back into the light of Pernell Whitaker, being a southpaw. Even he's taller, he's longer, but he's a southpaw that has that, like Kurt says, natural boxing abilities. Valdez is going to fight something like he's never seen before. Now, I do believe that Shakur Stevenson is going to have to be on his A game for this Valdez kid because I think Valdez is very talented. He showed it today, switching up from southpaw to orthodox, his execution, the dipping of the head. But like I said, those punches, they're going to be coming a lot faster from Shakur Stevenson. And Shakur Stevenson, he could throw him wide. He could throw him down the middle. It don't matter. He could do some of every damn thing. I have Shakur Stevenson winning that fight. UD.
I'm going to tell you, people, every fight has a different personality. And, style make fights. The fighter who has the more natural skill usually wins. A puncher and boxer, going back from Jack Dempsey Gene Tunney. Gene Tunney, we all know, was a scientific fighter with beautiful footwork. And very underrated heavyweight. Ali and Liston. Liston would have been champion for the next 10 years if it wasn't for Ali. Ali in his 60s was the most graceful fighter I ever seen in my life. Um, it, that's how it usually works out. The guy with the more rhythmic and perpetual and fluid fighter won. And that's what shocked me. It's not that he won, it's how he won. I picked Trinidad to beat Bernard Hopkins. Bernard surprised me the way he fought, boxing and moving. So Valdez showed new wrinkles, which impressed me more than anything. It was a great performance, but he fought a guy who was a flawed fighter, very strong, very powerful, but flawed on defense. And when you fight elite fighters and who has no defense, who has defense, and you don't, more than likely going to lose. You look at somebody like Felix Tito Trinidad. Trinidad was killing everybody, but let's look, who did he lose to? Winky Wright. People thought I was crazy actually when I picked Winky Wright to win. They thought I was nuts. Roy Jones and Bernard Hopkins. This goes back to rhythmic and perpetual motion, and those three losses proves it. All those fighters are Hall of Fame fighters, and they'll box your ears off.
I got Shakur Stevenson beating Valdez if the fight does come to fruition. But like I think Kurt said it, but it's rare that you see anyone take two tough fights back to back, because boxing is a business, so they do want you take this fight and you take a hard fight, then you get a soft touch, then you take this fight and you get a soft touch, and then definitely now with this going on. And I don't talk about this, but everybody's scrambling for a dollar and for money, and there's no live gate. So I don't see that fight happening next. But I will say that if we are looking at this fight when it comes to styles, because styles make fights. I don't care about how much pay-per-views you sell. I don't care about none of that. Styles make fights, and that's the reason most of us got into boxing, at least on this panel. So with a style like Shakur Stevenson, I actually just put out a video earlier about Shakur Stevenson and Oscar Valdez, and just showing the intangibles that they have now. Oscar Valdez, when it comes to footwork, it's not all that, especially not compared to Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson has the youth. He definitely has the spring, the bounce, the hit, to get in the pocket and get out the pocket. Also, another thing people don't really take into consideration, Shakur Stevenson throws a decent amount of punches, and he doesn't waste punches. And another thing on top of that, he has punch placement. He's not just throwing punches just to throw punches. He can find an opening where, okay, you curled up, he's going to throw that right hook to the body. You know what I'm saying? I done seen it. And the way he creates angles. So I think it's going to be an overall, skill-wise, Shakur beats him. I think he beats him in every department minus the power. And now that's one of the intangibles that I would like to see if Shakur could take somebody like Valdez power. Now, if he could take somebody like that, then pretty much if he could do that and wipe the floor with Valdez, possibly even hurt him, I'm sure he got the speed. I'm sure he got the athleticism. We just have to see him in there with him. But that's how I think the fight will go. Shakur Stevenson's on a whole nother level when it comes to somebody like Berchelt or somebody who's they got power, they got heart, but they don't think. And the smartest fighter always wins 9 times out of 10. So I think even if it comes down to the wire, Shakur is smart enough to just box his ears off. If he was to get hit with a shot and we don't know, and he's like, oh, that boy hit a little too hard, I'm gonna box his ears off. So I think his ring IQ and his discipline of wanting it and to show the people that he's the best is what's going to ultimately take him. And whoever he's for is because it's the guys that they put in front of him. He's trying to get all the other guys, and they obviously don't want the smoke. So I got Shakur Stevenson beating Valdez without a shadow of doubt. I ain't even thinking like, oh, this is going to be a crazy fight. I just believe that Shakur is just notches above him.
So do you think that they're gonna match like Valdez versus Gabriel Flores instead?
Of course, that's
I think so.
more of it.
I think so. I don't think that Shakur Stevenson and Valdez is gonna fight right now, to be honest with you. But if they was to fight, I'm not gonna sit here and say that Valdez won't have no success at all. But I will say this: when he ain't gonna be able to lead in with those hooks and all that old shit like how he was doing last night. He definitely gonna have to keep that jab pumping if he able to establish that jab on that southpaw stance like that, because Shakur Stevens is definitely gonna take that shit away for the most part. So he's gonna have to do something. But when he does come in and like that, he's gonna have a hell of a price to pay. And if he do have some success, he's gonna have to keep that head on the swivel and get in and out constantly. He ain't gonna have to. He cannot sit around for no type of receipts because Shakur Stevens gonna make him pay for everything any mistake he made. He gonna make him pay for it. And Shakur Stevens is a very very accurate puncher. So it wouldn't be wise to be having a hook party, a hook fest against a guy like Shakur. See, I'm not saying that he's gonna particularly fight that way, but he's gonna have to do something, maybe out the ordinary, to offset Shakur Stevenson. Then he damn sure ain't gonna be able to outbox him. I can bet on that. You know what I mean? That ain't gonna be no surprise. Yeah, I can guarantee you that. So it'll definitely be a whole new different movie that he gonna see this time around if they get in the ring. But
I'm
anybody else
interested.
want to elaborate on real quick?
I'm interested in Shakur fighting either one of those guys, Valdez and Flores.
Yeah.
Very
What y'all think about
interesting.
Gabriel Flores real quick? If anybody know about Gabriel Flores, anybody else on the panel?
He alright to me. He's not a bad fighter, but I'm not crazy about him. I think Shakur would beat him. The guys I've had to put Valdez up there, but Tank and Colbert and Shakur, man, I love the 130-pound division, but they have to fight each other. But I don't see Gabriel Flores on that level. I think he may be a notch below that. Um, I think Andre Ward is in his camp now and stuff.
Yeah,
I think he took,
co-manager.
yeah.
And I'm
And
gonna tell you something though, Kurt. Oh, go ahead.
no, I'm finished. Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. And I don't know, because I'm real big. I'm real big on Lil B Hop, Chris Colbert. I think that him and Shakur. I think like that's the biggest test for Shakur Stevens at 130. To be honest with you, besides Tank, like him and B Hop and B Hop. I think that's a hell of a fire chess match, man. I think Lil B Hop is something to be reckoned with.
I
I
agree.
think that's a
And they
hard
ain't
fight.
even in their prime. They ain't even in their prime. They get in there, and Shakur got a big ceiling, man. Like, when you get them real athletic fighters, who are scientific, man, they make you think. It's a difference than hitting the guy, and it's a difference being in the guy who makes you think, because you got to fight and think all at the same time. That's where your mind comes in at. Mayweather was best at thinking real fast and breaking you down. That's your mind. That's boxing IQ. Those are intangibles. And I like fighters like that.
Do you think Cobra can take Tank?
Tank hit so hard, but Tank,
I was just
but Tank is just not a puncher like a Berchelt or Navarrete. He places his punches. He showed me when the fight started against Santa Cruz, he led off with an uppercut because Santa Cruz was putting his face over his lead knee, so he kept going uppercut crazy. So that tells me he got a high boxing IQ. Tank, they all can beat each other on any given night. It can be like a golden era if they all fight each other. Colbert, Tank, and Shakur. I mean, I don't know. It'll be fun to find out they ever fight. But when it makes sense in boxing, it never happens.
Yes, that's so true.
Yeah, it's because my whole thing with that with Tank and Chris Colbert is like I ain't never seen Chris Colbert get hit like by a Tank. Somebody that punched that hard. So But as far as like skill set, hell yeah. Like stylistically, yeah, hell yeah, he can beat Tank. But I don't know how his chin will hold up because I ain't seen him get hit by nobody like a Tank. So
Yes.
that's the big question that we look for. You know what I mean? What's up, Blood? Wake your ass up, man.
I'm still here, man. I'm still here. You know, man. I'm smoking on the good stuff, bro. You know how it goes, man. I get the good shit. You get the bad shit over there in San. You know what I'm saying? So, and just don't be mad at me, man, because you smoking on that old that whack ass Blue Dream or something like that, man.
Yeah, no, that's the sativa, Black Blood. I don't like sativa, man. I'm sorry about that. It got to be that pure indica or hybrid for me, my man.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just remember that when I come back over there. Just remember that, bro. Just remember you said you got it.
Yeah. Just remember that. But anything anybody else want to cook on real quick? You know, while we got this jab session pumping, or if not, we can close
this
out
week is
for
Canelo fight.
Who?
Canelo fight this week.
He fighting Arthur Abraham 2.0, man. Get the fuck out. Come on, Avenue, you in the middle. I ain't gonna say the bomb word, man. Look here. Chris Eubank flatlined that dude in the World Boxing Super Series. Me and Bloods, matter of fact, we was live talking about that and seeing that. Man, get out of here, man. I think he might have beat that dude up the 6th round. Knocked out. Cold. Come on, man. Come on, man. Well, anybody got something to talk about Canelo with his little sparring session that he gonna have in Mexico? There ain't never a Mexico sparring session.
Not really.
No, not really. I think I'm a pass on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if anybody got that, we can close.
He needs to step up the competition, Canelo. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're tired of all these type of fights. We want to see him. If he's gonna stay up 168, unified, bro. Make sure these fights happen. Make sure you fight Billy Joe Saunders and all of these guys, man. I'm just getting tired of Canelo, man. I really am. He's one of my top fighters. He just needs to step up.
Yeah, me too. Because I don't think none of them can beat Canelo. But check this out. All right, so what's up with it? I keep hearing about what's up with Maul trying to call David Benavidez bluffing, and David Benavidez answered that phone call like, what's cracking? Like, what's up with all this, man? Like, and then I've been hearing a lot of. Oh, go ahead, Kurt.
I've been on Maul's behind, on Blue Blood, on everybody's show. I've been. You don't sit back, call somebody out saying how you'll beat them, and then when they respond aggressively when you don't expect it, like Benavidez did, you say I ain't fighting nobody under the age of 25 and he needs to be vaccinated. I'm like, what? What do you say? And I'm like, you showing a lot of nervous energy, man. I can't co-sign that. I had to jump in his behind, man. Charlo, man. He got to take the fight. That's just like Marvin Hagler saying, I ain't fighting no Tommy Hearns. You see what he did to Roberto Duran? I ain't fighting that nigga. I ain't fighting him. Nah, you got to fight him. You got to fight him. The fight is easy to make. Both on PBC. Then he says, I'm not 168 pounds. I'm like, oh, man. If he fights a soft touch, I'm going to look at him real funny, man. Real funny. I've been on his neck, man. Talk about I got a chauffeur. I got a pilot. Some old stuff he was saying, man. I'm like, no, we don't care about that. We want to see you get the smoke with Benavidez. You called it saying you'll F him up, and you know what I mean, and now you moonwalking away from the fight and stuff. I'm like, come on, man. You got to do better than that.
Then he claimed that he's going to be fighting. That Tank is going to be fighting on his undercard.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But hold up, real quick before we cook. Let me salute the one of the godfather of the museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs, Scrapbook Boxing, man. Salute, man. Salute the Scrapbook Boxing, man. He done show love to everybody in the chat already. But
the Scrapbook,
my brother, Scrapbook.
Yeah, man. But I'm gonna say this real quick, not to cut you off, Charlotte versus Maul. I'm gonna let you get back to that. When it comes down to Maul, I think Maul need to go ahead and just stop living off that twin Charlo rep because Mel in the whole league of his own. You understand what I'm saying? Mel done been tested. We don't seen him lose. We don't seen him come back and knock the dude out. We don't seen him do all that. So Mel ain't ducking no smoke. Period. And I'm pretty sure we all can agree on that, right? So Maul, it's time for Maul to ante up, man, because he ain't did nothing, truth be told. Maul the one putting in work. So I mean, am I right or wrong for this?
Now you're right. I mean that loss
Yeah,
made
you're
him a
right.
better fighter. The two Harrison fights, and then he takes on the tough Jason Rosario, and he looked real impressive, man. I got him top 5 pound for pound, man. And I thought Maul was better at first, but Jamel has surpassed him because when you fight tough competition, your skills would appreciate itself, man. You in tough, so you can sharpen your tools. And Maul, yeah, I don't want to see him fight Dennis Hogan. I don't want to see him fight Brandon Adams. Derevchenko was okay. He was coming off a couple of losses, and Maul got hurt in that fight. Look at the 8th round. He got hurt with a body shot, but Benavidez is the ideal fight, man, for him. And Eubanks is an okay fight. Triple G is not going to fight with Charlo. He has to step up, man. But his attitude, got me for a loss, man, because I don't see that Lions only attitude. I see Siamese cat.
Simon's cat.
They'll say Juan Montel is coming for Charlo. They in talks.
Jamel is the one fighting all the killers, man. I have Jamel in my top. I actually have him number 2 in my
me
pound
too,
for pound.
blood. Me too. And
Because he's the one who's making the legendary run, okay? Yes, he did take a loss, but that just proves once again that taking a loss don't mean much, man, because this guy's the one who's been on the legendary run defending his title. He's in here putting hurt on guys like Erickson Lubin, a skilled amateur fighter who came from who's been in boxing for a long time. He was able to beat this guy, knock him out, and he's been beat. When he knocks these guys out, sometimes I worry about them. I'm like, what's going on? These guys' bodies be twitching and all kind of stuff. This guy's a killer, Jamel Charlo. He's a killer. He sets a different standard than what his brother sets. This guy is he has 3 championships in 3 of the major weight classes. He's about to become undisputed. This guy, to me, is a gem in boxing, man. A lot of people are sleeping on Jamel Charlo.
Yep, you're right. You're right.
He has a terrific left hook, man. Go ahead, Mark.
Who do y'all think that Jamal is going to fight then? If he doesn't fight Eubanks and he doesn't fight David Benavidez, what is he going to do? Is he going to who is he going to fight? He was running out of choices. There's Moret is still there, Brent is still there, but all of those guys are on the other side of the fence. So,
and he didn't take what happened to Eubank fight? Well, Eubank ain't with Al no more. So I don't know, man. Because I don't know, man. I wish he fight somebody with some of note, like with some substance to it. Because I'm tired of these Adams and what's these other guys he fighting.
yes,
I can't deal with no more of these guys, man. I can't deal with no more of these guys.
He got to show me something, man. I mean, I was very impressed with Charlo when he knocked out Rosario. Rosario is dangerous, man, and Charlo has a terrific left hook. I love Jamel's left hook, man. He's a boxer, puncher, boxer. He's very versatile, and I give credit for Earl Spence because when Mikey was calling him out and stuff like that, Earl said, "You know what? I'm tired of this dude." He said, "Al, make the fight," and he beat the brakes off Mikey. The fight was made. He didn't say, "I ain't fighting Mikey because he wearing green or black trunks and all that." And, nah, he fought him. He made an example out of Mikey. And I like that. That's the way they used to do it. So Jamal has to step up. We don't care if you got a chauffeur. No, he said you got a pilot. We don't care about none of that stuff, man. Get in the ring with Benavidez. See, the joke was on him because when he said he had F Benavidez up, he didn't expect Benavidez to respond like he did in an aggressive manner. And Benavidez, laid into him. We had him on our show, Blue Blood, and Benavidez was like, yeah, you know, I want all the smoke with Charlo. Somebody tell you that. The way I'm be like, yo, we got to fight, man. I'll make the fight. But he, like I said, he danced away from that fight. So I wanted the ball is in his court. I want to see who he fights, man. It better not be nobody that's light competition. So we'll see. We'll see. His brother is the one that I really, really like, man. He got a mean streak in him, man. I like that.
Well, according to Lawrence Williams, man, shout out to Lawrence Williams, he said that Juan Montiel is coming for Charlo. They're in talks right now, so that's apparently that's who he's supposed to be fighting. And Lawrence Williams gave us a little update too. He said Hogan versus Tim Tszyu March 31st, and you got Adams versus Borchelt on March 4th. Shout out to Lawrence Williams. But so what y'all think about Montiel versus Charlo?
It's an okay fight, but I want to see him fight Danny Jacobs or something like that. I'm hard on Charlo, man. I'm telling you, he's showing me some cursing, but nah, man, he got to show me, man. He looking real nervous out here, like Chuck Chillout will say on the radio. But you know, I don't know, man, about Charlo, man. I don't know. I don't see no Lions only. I don't see
I
that.
don't want to see the Montiel fight either, man. I want to see, like you said, I want to see Danny Jacobs, somebody like that. That's what I want to see, because I feel like when it comes down to Maul, he pop a lot on the internet, but when it comes down to Mano, he don't keep that same energy. You understand what I'm saying? I've seen him tuck his tail with with Danny Jacobs, and I think that's a winnable fight for him, because Danny ain't doing much, and I mean, shit. I think it's a good fight. That's a fight that's overdue, in my opinion. They should have been
way overdue. That fight been supposed to happen. That fight been supposed. When they was talking to each other, that smack to each other in that hallway, they supposed to have fought the next time.
Exactly.
They let it die.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. But anybody else got anything y'all want to talk about real quick? If not, we can wrap it up, man. You know.
Yeah, I gotta get off the phone, man. My son, I'm gonna send him some money. You know, he always, Dad, I need a couple of dollars. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, it's all been an honor, pleasure from having everybody on here, man. It's been a good show, man. This is what I want to get used to in the rhythm of having people on the show, man, so I can bring more traffic and draw a different audience, and broaden the show. So, man, but other than that, man, this has been an amazing jam session, episode 61. Salute to Buzz, salute to Hollywood's Mark, salute to Famous and Tangible Bob.
Salute everyone.
And the
Peace,
one and only
everybody.
Kurt Sugar,
One
man.
second.
Oh yeah.
I want to ask Charlo's Mark, do he has a boxing channel?
No,
not yet.
Oh, okay. Me neither, man. I just be floating everywhere, man. But I just love. I'm crazy about boxing, man. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'm an addict. But Blood, man, my brother and Mark. Nice to meet you, man. I like your mind, man. You got a good mind. The Trap House, my brother, man. The panel was fire. A lot of people got channels, but don't know diddly squat about boxing, man. I educate them though, but anyway, this was a fire panel, and shout out to everybody in the chat, L Dub, Scrapbook Boxing, and you know about Scrapbook Boxing, Mark?
Nah.
Go to
yeah.
Oh my God. Go to his channel, Scrapbook Boxing.
I definitely will do that.
He's unbelievable.
Look out for me, Scrapbook.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, man, you going? Oh fuck, man! Damn, I'm tripping, man. I feel bad. I ain't never told you, God. And look, quick story, man. Short story. Hollenberg's Mark is like one of my day one. He's like my third subscriber that ever came to my channel when I first started, man. So that's how far back we go.
Yeah, I like Mark, man. When somebody speak, I listen to him intently. I'll be like, yeah, I could pick up. I could be like, yeah, this guy knows boxing, man. But I got another show called The Three Wise Men in Boxing. I'm on Blue Blood Sports TV, Mark, Monday through Friday at 5:30 with Blue Blood. We interview all the fighters, and I got another show on Thursday night with Stormy B, man. He's a He's an excellent mind too, and it's called The Three Wise Men of Boxing on Stormy B, man. Blood was the guest last week. We did the Blood, the Mike Tyson and James Douglas. Thanks, Buster Douglas anniversary. Yeah, so you come around, man. We need people like you, man. You know what you're talking about. Come around, man. We have you on the panels, bro.
Oh, definitely. We'll do that, brother.
Listen, you ain't gonna be mad, bro. Trust me, you ain't gonna be mad. Stop through. Trust me.
Oh, definitely would. Thanks for the invite as well. And this was a great panel too. I'm just a little late, right quick, because over there working. Yeah,
it's all good, man. Like we next time though, man, we're gonna close out, man. I appreciate everybody. Much love to everybody, to the whole boxing community, man. Much love, and I'll let peace, man.
All right, peace.
Peace out.
Peace.